General Vextar walked slowly through the grand halls of the Zephyrian High Command. His forearms hung heavy at his sides, and his scaled face showed worry lines that had grown deeper over many years of war. Today, he carried information that could save his empire from making the biggest mistake in its history. The War Council chamber stretched before him like a vast cave. Tall windows showed the purple sky of their home world, where 3 moons hung like ancient eyes. Around the curved table sat the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Each one commanded fleets that could destroy entire star systems. Each one believed the Zephyrian Empire was unstoppable. High Chancellor Mordoon sat at the center of the table. His golden robes sparkled with the light of 1,000 conquered worlds. When he spoke, his voice echoed through the chamber like thunder. "General Vextar," the Chancellor said, "you have studied the humans for 2 full cycles. Tell us about these creatures so we can plan their conquest." Vextar placed a small device on the table. Images filled the air above them. Pictures of a blue and green world called Earth. Pictures of the beings who lived there. "Your Excellence," Vextar began, "I must speak clearly. We should not attack the humans. We should leave them completely alone." The other generals around the table made sounds of surprise and anger. Admiral Crescian, commander of the 3rd Fleet, slammed his fist on the table. "Coward!" Crescian shouted. "They are primitive. They have not even left their star system properly. Their weapons are simple. Their ships are slow. How can you fear such weak beings?" Vextar touched his device again. New images appeared. Humans fighting in great wars on their world. Cities burning, then rising again stronger than before. Soldiers charging into impossible battles they could not win. "Look at their history," Vextar said. "These humans have fought each other for thousands of years. They know war better than any species we have ever met. But that is not what makes them dangerous." "Then what?" Chancellor Mordoon asked. "They do not surrender," Vextar said. "Ever. When we conquered the Altharians, they gave up after we destroyed their capital. When we defeated the Corellian Empire, they begged for mercy after we won 3 battles. But humans? They fight until the last one dies." More images appeared. Humans trapped in impossible situations, still fighting. Humans facing creatures much larger and stronger, refusing to run away. Humans protecting their young and weak, even when it meant certain death. "They also learn," Vextar continued. "Faster than any species we know. Show a human a new weapon once, and within days, they will build something better. Give them a problem they have never seen, and they will find a solution no one else thought of." General Thaxmore, the eldest member of the council, leaned forward. "You speak of them like they are gods. Vextar, they are just another species. We have conquered hundreds of worlds." "Yes," Vextar said, "but none like this one. I have watched their entertainment, studied their stories. Do you know what they dream about? Fighting against impossible odds and winning. They tell tales of small groups defeating vast armies. They celebrate those who die fighting for what they believe in." The Chancellor looked annoyed. "Stories do not win wars, General. Their stories show us their minds," Vextar replied. "And their minds are unlike anything we have faced. When other species see our fleets, they calculate odds and surrender when defeat is certain. Humans see our fleets and ask only one question: how do we hurt them before we die?" Modergly, Vextar changed the images again. Now they showed human cities. Millions of humans working together, building, creating, learning. "They are also pack hunters," he said. "When you attack one human, you attack them all. Their governments may argue and fight, but the moment an outside threat appears, they become one creature with billions of minds. We would not be fighting their armies. We would be fighting their entire species." Admiral Crescian laughed. "Even better. We will defeat them all at once and be done with it. No, Vextar said quietly. They will defeat us. The chamber fell silent. No one in the Empire's history had ever spoken such words about any enemy. Chancellor Mordoon stood slowly. His voice was cold and angry. General Vextar, you disappoint me. I sent you to study prey, and you return speaking of predators. Perhaps your many years of war have made you soft. Your Excellence, Vextar said desperately, I have never retreated from battle. I have conquered 12 worlds for this empire. I am not soft. I am terrified. These humans are sleeping giants. If we wake them, if we make them angry, they will not stop until every Zephyrian world burns. Enough, the Chancellor roared. Admiral Crescian, prepare the invasion fleets. We attack the human world in 30 days. This conversation is finished. The council members began to file out, talking excitedly about the coming easy victory. Vextar remained standing at the table, watching the images of humans still floating in the air. Admiral Crescian stopped beside him. Old friend, war has made you afraid of shadows. These humans cannot even travel faster than light properly. How can they threaten us? Reet. Vextar turned to face him. Because they do not know, they cannot win. And that makes them the most dangerous enemy we could ever face. As the chamber emptied, Vextar looked one last time at the images of Earth. In 30 days, his empire would attack that peaceful blue world. And in 30 days, everything would change forever. He had tried to warn them. They would not listen. Soon, they would learn why they should have. Captain Jinwoo Park sat in his patrol ship at the edge of Earth's solar system. The small vessel was called the Soul's Pride, named after the city where he was born. For 3 months, Earth's governments had been receiving strange signals from deep space. Military leaders worried something was coming. They were right. Jinwoo's screens lit up with warning lights. His hands moved quickly over the controls as massive shapes appeared on his sensors. Ships, hundreds of them. Each one was larger than Earth's biggest space station. Command, this is Soul's Pride. Jinwoo spoke into his radio. I have visual contact with unknown vessels. They are very large. Copy that, Soul's Pride. Can you get closer for better readings? Jinwoo looked at his screens again. The alien ships were moving toward Earth like a dark cloud, blocking out the stars. Fear tried to climb up his throat, but he pushed it down. His job was to protect Earth. That meant getting information, no matter how scared he felt. Moving in for closer look, he said. As his ship moved nearer, Jinwoo could see the alien vessels clearly. They were beautiful and terrible at the same time. Dark metal covered in strange patterns and lights. Weapons that could destroy mountains pointed toward his home planet. He counted them quickly. 300 ships, maybe more. His radio crackled. The voice that came through spoke perfect English, but it sounded wrong, too deep, with strange clicks and hisses. Small human vessel, you will stop and listen. I am Admiral Crescian of the Zephyrian Empire. Your species now belongs to us. You will return to your world and tell your leaders to surrender immediately. Any resistance will result in complete destruction of your planet. Jinwoo felt his heart beating fast. He looked at the picture on his control panel. His wife, Minjung, holding their baby daughter. Both of them were on Earth right now, probably making dinner and wondering when Daddy would come home. He pressed the radio button. This is Captain Jinwoo Park of the Earth Defense Patrol. I don't know who you are or where you came from, but you are not welcome here. Turn your ships around and leave our system immediately. The alien voice laughed. It sounded like breaking glass. Foolish creature. You have one small ship. We have a fleet that has conquered 1,000 worlds. You cannot fight us. Watch me, Jinwoo said. He pushed his ship's engines to full power and flew straight at the nearest alien vessel. His small weapons fired continuously. They did almost no damage to the massive ship. But that was not the point. The point was to buy time. Every second he fought was one more second for Earth to prepare. The alien ship returned fire. Beams of energy lit up space around Jinwoo's ship. He rolled and twisted, dodging the deadly lights. His ship was fast and small. The alien ship was huge and slow. For a few minutes, it looked like he might actually survive. Then 10 more alien ships turned their weapons toward him. Soul's Pride to Earth command, Jinwoo said as his ship shook under enemy fire. Tell my family, I love them. Tell them we fought. The explosion lit up the darkness like a small sun. Admiral Crescion watched the human ship die and felt satisfied. One human vessel destroyed. Begin bombardment of the planet. But on Earth, Jinwoo's sacrifice had given the human government's precious time. Air raid sirens wailed in every major city. People ran for underground shelters that had been built for exactly this moment. Military bases activated weapons that had been hidden for years. The alien bombardment began. Beams of energy struck down from space, destroying military targets and government buildings. But the humans had prepared well. Most of their leaders were already safe in deep bunkers. Most of their weapons were hidden or mobile. And most of their people were very, very angry. Lieutenant Sarah Kim stood in the ruins of Seoul, watching alien ships land in the city center. Her city. Jinwoo Park City. She held her rifle tight and looked at the other soldiers around her. They killed Captain Park, she said quietly. They think we will just give up now. The alien soldiers came out of their ships. They were tall and strong, with scales instead of skin and 4 arms each. They carried weapons that glowed with dangerous energy. They moved through the city like they owned it. That was their first mistake. Sarah and her team had been hiding in the subway tunnels under the city. When the aliens passed over their position, she gave a hand signal. Explosives detonated under the street. The alien patrol disappeared in smoke and fire. All around Earth, similar scenes played out. In New York, office workers threw bottles filled with burning fuel from tall buildings. In London, children led alien patrols into traps made from construction equipment. In Tokyo, elderly people who remembered old wars taught young fighters how to make weapons from kitchen supplies. Admiral Crescion stood on his command ship, watching reports come in from the surface. His officers looked confused and worried. "Sir," one of them said, "the humans are not surrendering. They are fighting back with primitive weapons, but they are fighting everywhere at once." "Impossible," Crescion said. "We destroyed their government buildings. We eliminated their military command centers. They should be helpless. It appears they do not need central command to fight, sir. Each small group acts on its own. They seem to be making plans as they fight." Crescion felt a cold touch of fear. This was not how conquest was supposed to work. Other species either fought a few organized battles and surrendered, or gave up immediately when they saw the power of the empire. These humans were doing something different, something wrong. Down on Earth, Dr. Elena Vasquez crawled through the rubble of her laboratory. The aliens had destroyed the building, but they had not found the basement. In that basement, she had been studying pieces of alien technology that had fallen from their ships during the bombardment. She worked by candlelight, her hands steady despite the explosions outside. The alien technology was advanced, but it followed logical rules. Rules she could understand. Rules she could copy. If they want to play with toys, she whispered to herself, let's see how they like ours. Above her, the war continued, and the aliens were beginning to realize that conquering Earth would not be as easy as they had thought. Dr. Sarah Chen worked by the light of a small lamp in an underground bunker beneath the ruins of Beijing. Around her, pieces of alien technology covered every table. Broken weapons, damaged communication devices, and fragments of alien armor filled the room. She had been awake for 36 hours straight, but sleep was not important now. Understanding the enemy was. "Hand me that power cell," she said to her assistant, a young engineer named David Liu. "I think I know how their energy weapons work." David passed her the glowing device they had pulled from a destroyed alien vehicle. "Are you sure this is safe, Dr. Chen?" "We don't know what happens if we connect it wrong." Sarah smiled grimly. "The aliens didn't know what would happen when they attacked Earth. Let's give them the same surprise." "The same surprise? If this Hellseent," replied the Sarah, "let's give them the same surprise." She connected the power cell to a device she had built from parts of human computers and alien technology. The machine hummed to life, and energy flowed through circuits that should not have worked, but somehow did. "Impossible," David breathed. "How did you make human technology work with alien power sources?" "Same way humans always solve problems," Sarah said. "We try things until something works. Then we make it work better." Above them, the city was a battlefield. But below ground, in hundreds of hidden places like this, human scientists and engineers worked with desperate creativity. They studied every piece of alien technology they could find. They tested, modified, and improved until alien weapons fired. Human bullets and human radios spoke on alien frequencies. In the subway tunnels under London, Sergeant Mike Rodriguez led a team of fighters who had never been soldiers before the invasion. There was an accountant, a teacher, 2 mechanics, and a grandmother who made the best explosives any of them had ever seen. "Remember," Mike told them as they prepared for their next raid, "the aliens are stronger and faster than us. Their armor is better, and their weapons are more powerful, so we don't fight them fair." The grandmother, whose name was Margaret Thompson, patted the bag of homemade bombs at her side. "I've been making fireworks for my grandchildren for 20 years, dear. These aliens are about to get the biggest fireworks show of their lives." They moved through the tunnels to a position under an alien supply depot. The aliens had learned to guard their bases carefully, but they had not learned to look underground. They did not understand that humans had been building tunnels under their cities for hundreds of years. Mike's team planted Margaret's bombs and retreated to a safe distance. When the explosives went off, the entire alien base disappeared in a ball of fire that could be seen from space. But the explosion was not the important part. The important part was what happened next. Within minutes, every resistance cell in London knew exactly how the attack had been carried out. Within hours, the same technique was being used in Paris, Berlin, and Rome. By the next day, human fighters on every continent were using Margaret's bomb design and Mike's tunnel tactics. This was something the Zephyrian Empire had never seen before. When they conquered other species, each group fought alone. Knowledge died with the fighters who carried it. But humans shared everything they learned. Every successful attack was copied thousands of times. Every mistake was a lesson that taught every other human fighter. Admiral Crescion stood in his command center, staring at reports from across Earth. His scales were pale with stress, and his 4 hands shook as he read. "Sir," his communications officer said nervously, "we are receiving messages from the surface. The humans want to talk." "Finally," Crescion said. "They are ready to surrender." The message appeared on his screen. It was written in perfect Zephyrian language. But the words made his blood run cold. "To the invaders, we have been studying your technology. We have learned your language. We know your ship locations and your patrol schedules. You came here expecting to find prey. You have found predators instead. Leave now, or discover what happens when you corner a species that evolved by hunting creatures larger than themselves." The human resistance. How do they know our language? Crecion demanded. We only arrived 30 days ago. His science officer, a young Zephyrian named Veltar, looked at his reports with confusion and fear. Sir, our intelligence was wrong about human learning capacity. They appear to process new information at rates we thought were impossible. Some of them have learned to speak our language fluently. Others have mastered our technology and improved it. Improved it? How can primitives improve empire technology? They think differently than we do, sir. Where we see established methods, they see problems to solve. They have taken our weapon designs and made them more efficient. They have taken our communication systems and made them faster. And, sir, they have taken some of our soldiers. Crecion's eyes widened. What do you mean, taken our soldiers? Captured, sir, but not killed. The humans are treating our people well. Better than we treat prisoners. Some of our troops are beginning to question why we are here. In a hidden base in the mountains of Colorado, Commander Elena Vasquez studied a map covered with colored pins. Each pin represented a resistance cell. Red pins for combat groups, blue pins for technical teams, green pins for intelligence gathering, and yellow pins for medical support. There were thousands of pins on the map. Ma'am, her communications specialist reported, we have contact with resistance groups in 43 countries. They are all requesting coordination for a major operation. Elena smiled. The aliens had made many mistakes, but their biggest error was thinking that destroying human governments would stop human organization. They did not understand that humans were like a forest. Cut down one tree, and 10 others would grow in its place. Tell all groups to prepare for Operation Rising Storm, she said. Tomorrow, we show these aliens what happens when you attack humanity's home. Back on his command ship, Admiral Crecion received an urgent message from General Vextar on the home world. Admiral, I have been monitoring your reports. You must retreat immediately. The humans are not behaving like any species we have encountered. Their resistance is growing stronger, not weaker. Every day you remain, they become more dangerous. Crecion felt anger and fear fighting in his chest. I will not retreat from primitive creatures, General. The Empire does not surrender to anyone. Then the Empire will learn the hardest lesson of its existence. Vextar replied. I warned the Council, and they would not listen. Now I warn you. These humans are not primitive. They are sleeping giants, and you have awakened them. On Earth, the sleeping giants were indeed awake. In workshops and laboratories, in tunnels and hidden bases, humanity was preparing for war. Not the war the aliens expected, but the kind of war humans had always fought. The kind of war they had always won. Admiral Liu Wei stood on the bridge of the battleship Harmony's Blade, watching Earth grow larger on the main screen. 3 months ago, he had been commanding humanity's small exploration fleet on the edge of the galaxy. Now, he was coming home with 200 warships that should not have existed. But humans had a talent for building things that should not exist. Admiral, his communications officer called, we are receiving surrender demands from the alien fleet. Liu Wei almost smiled. Tell them to surrender to us instead. They might live longer. The Zephyrian ships around Earth looked impressive. 300 massive vessels with weapons that could crack planets. But Liu Wei had seen something the aliens had not. He had seen what humanity could build when they were angry. His ships did not look like normal human vessels. They were covered in plates of alien metal that his engineers had learned to shape. They carried weapons that mixed human creativity with alien technology. Most importantly, they were crewed by humans who had spent 3 months learning everything they could about space combat. The aliens had taken 300 years to build their fleet. Humans had built a better one in 3 months. All ships, this is Admiral Liu, he spoke into the communication system. Operation Homecoming begins now. Show these invaders what happens when they threaten Earth. The battle began immediately. Alien energy beams reached out toward the human fleet, but the human ships moved in ways that confused the alien gunners. They did not fly in neat formations like military ships were supposed to. They swarmed like angry insects, each ship following its own path, but somehow working together. Captain Sun-hee Kim piloted her fighter ship Dragon's Wing through the alien fleet. Her ship was tiny compared to the massive Zephyrian vessels, but it was fast and deadly. She flew between their ships, firing weapons that cut through alien armor like hot knives through butter. "This is Dragon's Wing," she called on the radio. "Their rear armor is weaker than their front. All fighters. Attack from behind and below." Within seconds, 200 human fighters changed their attack pattern. The aliens tried to turn their ships to face the new threat, but human fighters were already somewhere else, hitting different targets. Admiral Crescesian watched his fleet falling apart and felt panic rising in his chest. "How are they doing this? Our weapons are superior. Our ships are larger." His tactical officer, Veltar, studied the battle displays with amazement and fear. "Sir, they are not fighting like any military force we have encountered. Each human ship acts independently, but they share information instantly. When one discovers a weakness, they all exploit it immediately. That is impossible. No species can coordinate without central command. Sir, I think they do not need central command. They seem to think as one creature with many bodies." On Earth's surface, the human resistance had not been watching the space battle. They had been preparing their own surprise. In workshops and hidden factories, they had built weapons that even Admiral Liu Wei did not know about. Dr. Sarah Chen stood next to a device that looked like a giant radio antenna. Around her, engineers from 12 different countries worked together to complete the final connections. They spoke 5 different languages, but they understood each other perfectly. "Quantum communication array is ready," reported Dr. Petrov from Russia. "Energy feeds are stable," added Dr. Okafor from Nigeria. "Targeting systems are online," confirmed Dr. Martinez from Mexico. Sarah looked at the device they had built together. It used alien technology as its base, but it had been improved with human imagination and desperation. When it fired, every alien ship around Earth would find their communication systems turned against them. "Activate the array," she said quietly. The device hummed to life, and invisible energy reached out toward the alien fleet. Within seconds, every Zephyrian ship began receiving the same message on all frequencies. "This is Earth calling all alien forces. You came here expecting to conquer primitives. You found humans instead. We have taken your technology and made it better. We have learned your language and your tactics. We know your ship designs and your weaknesses. You have 2 choices: surrender and be treated with honor, or fight and be destroyed. You have 1 hour to decide." Admiral Chris Yan stared at his communications screens in horror. The humans were speaking on frequencies that should have been impossible for them to access. They were using his own ship's systems to send him messages. "Sir," Veltar said quietly, "perhaps we should consider surrender." "Never," Crescesian roared. "The Empire does not surrender to anyone." "Then the Empire will die," said a new voice. Crescesian spun around to see General Vextar standing in his command center. The old general was wearing human clothing and carrying a human weapon. "Vextar, how did you get on my ship?" "The humans brought me," Vextar said calmly. "Their ships are faster than ours now. Their shields are stronger. Their weapons are deadlier. And their soldiers fight with honor instead of fear. You are a traitor. I am a realist. I have watched this battle from the human command ship. Admiral Liu Wei offered me a choice: fight alongside people who respect wisdom, or die alongside fools who ignore it. The choice was simple. Through the viewports, they could see the battle turning into a disaster for the Zephyrian fleet. Human ships moved like deadly dancers, striking and vanishing before return fire could touch them. Every time an alien ship was destroyed, the remaining vessels found themselves facing new tactics they had never seen before. "Sir," the communications officer called desperately, We are receiving messages from our other fleets throughout the galaxy. The humans have colonies everywhere. They are attacking all our positions simultaneously. Crescesian felt his world crumbling around him. How many human ships? Duh. Thousands, sir. They appear to have been building them in secret for years. Every human colony has become a shipyard. Every human world has become a fortress. On the bridge of Harmony's Blade, Admiral Liu Wei watched the alien fleet beginning to break apart. Some ships were trying to flee. Others were sending surrender signals. A few were still fighting, but their resistance was weakening. Admiral, his tactical officer reported, the alien commander is requesting communication. Put him through. Crescesian's face appeared on the screen. His scales were pale with defeat, and his eyes held the look of someone who had finally understood a terrible truth. Human Admiral, he said slowly, I wish to discuss terms of surrender. The terms are simple, Liu Wei replied. Complete withdrawal from Earth and all human territories. Reparations for damage caused. And a guarantee that no alien force will threaten humanity again. And if I refuse? Liu Wei looked around his bridge at the human crew members who had fought so hard to defend their species. Men and women who had learned to be warriors in 3 months because their families needed them to. Then we hunt down every ship in your empire and show the galaxy what happens to those who attack human children. Crescesian was quiet for a long moment. Finally, he spoke. I accept your terms. The Zephyrian Empire formally surrenders to humanity. As the alien ships began to withdraw, General Vex Tar stood beside Admiral Liu Wei on the human bridge. You fought well, the old general said. Better than I expected. And I expected much. We fought like humans, Liu Wei replied. We protected our families. Everything else was just details. In the depths of space, news of humanity's victory spread quickly. Other alien species heard the impossible story of primitives who had defeated the mighty Zephyrian Empire in 3 months of war. Some species felt fear. Others felt hope. All of them learned a new rule for surviving in the galaxy. Never, ever, threaten humanity's home. High Chancellor Mordoon stood at the great window of his palace, watching the sunrise paint the sky purple and gold above the Zephyrian capital. For 800 years, this view had shown him an empire that ruled half the galaxy. Today, it showed him something very different. Human ships filled the sky. They had arrived without warning, moving faster than anything in the Empire's fleet. Sleek vessels that combined alien technology with human innovation. Beautiful and terrible ships that carried warriors who had crossed the galaxy for one purpose: to end the threat to Earth forever. Your Excellence, his aide whispered nervously. The human admiral is requesting an audience. Mordoon did not turn from the window. How many ships? More than we can count, sir. They appear to have been traveling here for weeks from dozens of different human colonies. The fleet grows larger every hour. The Chancellor finally turned to face his aide. His golden robes seemed faded now, and his eyes held the weight of 8 centuries of pride crumbling into dust. Send them in, he said quietly. Admiral Liu Wei entered the chamber flanked by 2 other human officers. Behind them walked General Vex Tar, who had once served this empire faithfully, but now wore the uniform of humanity's allies. The sight of the old general in human colors hurt worse than any weapon. Chancellor Mordoon, Admiral Liu Wei said formally, I am Admiral Liu Wei of the Human Defense Fleet. I believe you have something that belongs to us. I am Setamani Seelin Side. Ottomani Seelin Side. I believe you have something that belongs to us. I am Setamani Seelin Side. Creating boxes Nide. I am Setamani Seelin Side. And what would that be, Admiral? An apology. The words hung in the air like a challenge. For 800 years, no one had dared speak to a Zephyrian chancellor with such directness. But these were humans, and humans had already proven they followed different rules. You destroyed our orbital stations, Liu Wei continued. You bombed our cities. You killed millions of innocent people. You tried to enslave our entire species. And you did all of this because you thought we were too weak to stop you. Mordun felt anger rising in his chest, but it was mixed with something else. Fear. Real fear. For the first time in his long life. We are the Zephyrian Empire, he said, though his voice lacked its usual power. We have ruled this galaxy for 1,000 years. We do not apologize to anyone. We. Then you have learned nothing, General Vextar said sadly. I tried to warn you, old friend. I begged you to leave humanity alone. But you chose pride over wisdom. Traitor, Mordun whispered. Realist, Vextar replied. These humans taught me something our empire never could. They taught me that true strength comes from protecting others, not conquering them. They taught me that wisdom means admitting when you are wrong. Admiral Liu Wei stepped forward. Chancellor, our terms are simple. Complete withdrawal from all human territory. Immediate release of all human prisoners. Payment for the damage you have caused. And a formal guarantee that no Zephyrian force will ever threaten humanity again. And if I refuse? Liu Wei gestured toward the window, where human ships filled the sky. Look around you, Chancellor. We crossed the galaxy in 3 months. We defeated your greatest fleet without losing a single ship. We have allies among your own people now. What do you think happens if you refuse? 1. Mordun looked out at the human fleet and felt the weight of his empire's future pressing down on him. Each ship represented technology that his species had never imagined. Each crew member represented a level of determination his people had never faced. How did you build so many ships so quickly? He asked. The same way humans do everything, Liu Wei replied. We worked together. Every human colony became a shipyard. Every human world contributed resources. When you attacked Earth, you attacked all of us. But your colonies are scattered across the galaxy. They have no central government, no unified command structure. That's what makes us strong, said Captain Park Jin-woo, who had somehow survived the first battle and now commanded his own ship. We don't need someone to tell us to protect our families. We don't need orders to defend our home. We just do it. Mordun thought of his own empire, held together by fear and force, worlds that obeyed because they had no choice, species that served because they were conquered. He had always believed this made the empire strong. He was beginning to understand how wrong he had been. Your Excellence, his aide whispered urgently. Reports are coming in from across the empire. Human forces are attacking our positions everywhere. Our fleets are surrendering or being destroyed. How is this possible? Mordun demanded. Sir, it appears the humans have been preparing for this war since their planet was first attacked. They have turned every colony into a fortress and every civilian into a warrior. They fight like their entire species depends on victory. Because it does, Admiral Liu Wei said simply. You taught us that the galaxy is a dangerous place. You taught us that peaceful species get conquered. Thank you for the lesson. General Vextar walked to the great window and looked out at the human fleet. Do you know what I see out there? Mordun, I see the future of this galaxy. Not conquest and fear, but cooperation and protection. These humans could destroy our empire today. Instead, they offer us a chance to change. Change into what? Into something better. Something worthy of the power we once had. Mordun joined Vextar at the window. The human ships were beautiful in a way that Zephyrian vessels had never been. They looked like they had been built by people who loved flying among the stars, not by those who wanted to dominate them. If I accept your terms, he said to Admiral Liu Wei, what happens to my empire? That depends on you, Liu Wei replied. You can choose to be our enemy and face the consequences, or you can choose to be our ally and help us build something better. Ally? After everything we have done to your people? Humans believe in second chances, Chancellor. We believe people can change if they want to. Mordoun was quiet for a long time, thinking of the empire he had inherited and the one he would leave behind. Finally, he spoke. I formally accept your terms, Admiral Liu Wei. The Zephyrian Empire surrenders to humanity and requests forgiveness for our actions. The words felt strange in his mouth, but they also felt oddly freeing. Admiral Liu Wei nodded. Your surrender is accepted, Chancellor. Your request for forgiveness will take more time. Trust must be earned. 1 year later, General Vex Tar stood in the same chamber, but everything had changed. The walls now displayed star charts showing trade routes instead of conquest plans. The great table where military campaigns were once planned now hosted discussions of cooperation and mutual defense. Chancellor Mordoun, who now called himself by the simpler title of leader, looked older but more peaceful. The first joint patrol mission was successful. Vex Tar reported. Human and Zephyrian ships working together to protect the Altarian colonies from pirates. The Altarians are calling us heroes. Mordoun smiled, something he had rarely done in his younger days. Strange, how much better it feels to be called a hero than to be feared as a conqueror. The humans taught us that too, Vex Tar said. They taught the galaxy that true strength comes from protecting others, not dominating them. Through the great window, they could see human and Zephyrian ships training together, their crews learning to work as partners instead of enemies. Children from both species played in the gardens below, speaking each other's languages and dreaming of adventures among the stars. Do you think they will truly forgive us? Mordoun asked. They already have, Vex Tar replied. That's what humans do. They fight like demons when they must, but they forgive like angels when they can. In the depths of space, other species watched and learned. The galaxy had new protectors now. Not conquerors who ruled through fear, but guardians who defended through love. And at the center of it all was a small blue world where beings had learned that the greatest strength was not the power to destroy, but the wisdom to protect. The Zephyrian Empire had learned this lesson the hard way, but they had learned it well.